Okay, we're going again. We're resetting, and now we're doing the DPS tier list. Here we go. Okay. Let's do this. Well, first of all... Yeah. We are going to need... Okay, hang on. The new God Emperor. And we're going to need to change the color. Because, oh yeah, it's pink. It's pink, guys. Virtuoso. This build is the most broken DPS build in the game by far now. This build is ridiculous. It is actually more broken than Power Mech ever was. It's actually not even that close. This does... It's like 38,000 DPS, 5 seconds of distort. It has a block as well on a separate cooldown to that distort. All of its damage is ranged, by the way. It has great crowd control, boon removal. It's tanky at the same time, right? It has mesmer utility. It can do stability. It can Konikaz. It can blink. It can portal. It can do all that kind of stuff. This build is broken. It is totally broken. The ultimate DPS build. And, of course, you can play it as power and condition damage as well, of course. So, you know, power Virtuoso and condition damage Virtuoso are just fantastic builds. It's so good. This is... If you're going to... If you were, say, right, I want to get the job done on some super hard content, this actually... in my opinion, probably does just barely eke out Scourge. I do think Scourge, well, you're going to see that. I'm going to rate it very highly. It's still amazing, one of the best DPSs, but Virtuoso is just such an awesome build for PvE right now. It's unstoppable. It is totally unstoppable. God level build. Now let's add our S tier back, actually. Here we go. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'll do it like this. We'll do S, A, B. Because honestly, I don't think there's much. Everything is going to be S, A, B. Maybe Deadeye will be C tier. But that's about it. So, let's do Necromancer. Let me tell you guys a story. I'm going to tell you a story. I got sent a screenshot yesterday of someone getting kicked from a raid for playing Scourge. And I don't know what to tell you guys. What happened? Like, are people unhinged? Like, did you guys think that because Scourge got nerfed a little bit that it's not still insane? Scourge is S tier, easily. In fact, it's probably my pick after Virtuoso for most broken DPS build. It's still a top tier pick. It has amazing reliable damage, great support, a revive skill built into its toolkit, Epidemic, Spectral Grasp, right? It's ridiculously tanky, as well, by the way. Fully ranged, has insane AoE damage, you can attack like 3 places at the same time. This build is crazy. It's almost like it's a near perfect build. The only reason it's not the perfect build is because Virtuoso exists. Right? And no, it was Veil Guardian, by the way. They got kicked for. How sad is that? Yeah. Scourge propaganda initiate. This build is one of the best DPS builds in the game. It hasn't changed. It's still amazing. And there's a fun scaling thing here, by the way, is that the... Yeah, it was pre-pull. It was pre-pull. Seriously, guys, it was pre-pull. They hadn't even started yet. And this build scales with itself. It's actually one of the somewhat rare builds that do this. 1 Scourge, thumbs up. Pretty good, right? 3 Scourges, oh shit. Now that barrier is really starting to add up and go crazy. And we've got loads of revives. We've got loads of Condi Cleanse. Where, you know, we could even take Bone Minions to, you know, feed each other life force so you can spam even harder. Oh, that's pretty big. That's pretty juicy. Oh my goodness, right? Then you have 6 Scourges, and you are totally unkillable, and your entire group will never have a single condition on them. And you have 6 revives, all on independent cooldowns, right? It's an unusual build. Not all builds do this, but Scourge scales with itself, right? To a very, very high degree. It's amazing. It's also worth noting, by the way, that you can just slap on blood as well and kind of play that offensive heal Scourge if you want to, right? It is a DPS also, of course, to take blood magic, but you can just slap on blood, and then congratulations, you can kind of be a resbot for a minor DPS or some in hard carry, right? Even more so. Still amazing. Reaper. Oh, Reaper, Reaper, Reaper. Here we go. Oh, yeah, Scourge does really good damage, by the way. Don't let anyone tell you it doesn't. It's very solid, actually. Reaper. I so want to put this in A tier. Because I played it, and I like it. I played it, and I admit, this is the best case scenario. I played it on Harvest Temple Challenge Mode, which is, it's amazing in Harvest Temple Challenge Mode. It's one of the best places for Reaper, because you love area damage, being a little bit tanky, removing boons, executes as well. But if I really listen to my head, not my heart, Reaper is B tier. It's high B tier, though. Okay? Very high B tier. This build is legit. Okay, it's 35k DPS or so, super tanky because your Shroud drain's a bit slower now. Amazing, they massively got the Life Force generation too on a lot of the weapon skills. Staff is actually fun. I like Staff a lot. The new Staff rotation, it's cool. You get big AoE nukes with your Staff. You've got the Boon Corruption Flesh Golem too. If you can fit that into your build, great crowd control, AoE blinds. Amazing, amazing cleave. Some of the best cleave in the game. And you are actually very tanky and surprisingly mobile too, because you can use your Shroud Death Charge second skill quite frequently. So fine, high B tier, because it does need a bit more damage. If we're going here, we need a bit more DPS, because again, it doesn't apply boons, right? It doesn't have any kind of, it doesn't do stability or heal its team or apply barrier or something like that. So okay, all right. It can stay there for now, but it is good. It is actually very, very good. Now, there's another build that, you know, when stuff gets nerfed, people lose their mind. Okay? People lose their mind. Because people look at the benchmark. And it's the same thing with Reaper, right? People look at the benchmark without realizing what's actually going on under the hood. And this is true of the God Emperor, of Mechanist. Yes, Mecha's been nerfed. Yes, you may have to actually micromanage your pet maybe 3 times per fight. That might happen, guys. You may have to do that. But let me tell you something. Mechanist is actually still one of the best DPS specs in the game for the majority of normal play. Power damage, 33,000 DPS, ranged, godlike CC, godlike sustain, great mobility, can even remove boons with Throw Mine. This is an S tier build. Yeah, it is. Is it great for speedrunning? Honestly, no. But if you're in a pug group and you need reliable damage and everything's going to shit, Power Mech will get you there, right? And honestly, I've got to throw this in. I've got to throw this in, guys, because people just go unhinged. Like a small little nerf and people lose their minds, okay? But it's not the number. It's how achievable is that number. And Power Mechanist damage is just so reliable. It's so reliable. And it does so much for the group and can be so influential and useful to your team that it's still, in my opinion, one of the best picks, right? It is one of the best picks for a super solid, robust DPS choice. That's how it is. Yeah. Yeah, people aren't going to like that. Because you know what? People have an irrational hatred of Mechanist. They hate it. They're angry. They're so mad. They're so big angry that Mech is quite good. But yeah, Mech is pretty good. So Scrapper. Scrapper, you know, Scrapper fell behind. I would have actually put Scrapper probably at like an A+ tier. But I really feel like Scrapper fell behind on the power creep. The last patch added 1 billion damage to every build. But not poor old Scrapper. So Scrapper, with its good utility and solid damage output and all this kind of stuff. Yes. All the Scrapper damage revival. It's A tier. It's pretty good. And for the first time, we're gonna see Core as well here from NG. I actually think that weirdly enough, Core NG it probably goes in B tier, I think, actually. It's the only core class we're going to be rating because all the other ones are pretty meh, to be honest. But Core NG is actually pretty good. It does good damage. right? It does good damage. It is ranged, just like all the other engineer builds as well. You know, you use the rifle memes there as well. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Yes. Reaper is better than core NG. I might have to add some more tiers here, guys, but we'll see how that develops. We'll see how it develops. Holosmith, on the other hand. Holosmith going up to S tier. Let's go! Yes. Yes. This build is big. Big damage. Big sustain. Big cleave. Big crowd control. Everything about this build is big, actually. Very, very strong. Get in there. Yes. 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 I like it. Yeah. It is the same tier as Holo. Yeah. You've got to understand how I rate stuff, guys. Right? I knew this would be controversial. Okay? But this is the reality. Okay? That's NG. NG looking good. Look at that. 4 things kind of in the middle there. We love to see it. Yes. Yes. Okay. Moving on. Let's do Warrior. Let's do Warrior, guys. Oh, this is going to be Sword Holo, guys. And you can fit in Shield on this build really easily as well, actually. It's very strong. Okay. Warrior. Bladesworn, it's going in S tier. Spellbreaker, it's also going in S tier. And they're definitely towards the top of S tier here. Okay? Berserker, not so much. I think Berserker probably lives in B tier, to be honest. That's how it is. Boom. Spellbreaker, this is the new hot build. Hammer Spellbreaker. Very unkillable. Boon removal. A zillion CC. 40k damage. Right? 40k DPS. This build is very good. It's very strong. If you like Warrior, rejoice. Because this build is absolutely crazy, right? I love to see it. Bladesworn similarly, and this is what I meant at the start when I started going to be a bit more generous to hyper-aggressive builds. I actually think that the hyper-aggressive damage builds they're now so strong that I think they have to be rated pretty highly. You're going to see Catalyst also kind of pop up here in S tier for the same reason. It just hits so hard and can even fill in some downtimes in quickness, which is actually, that's more valuable than you might think, actually. That Bladesworn definitely getting in there with the S tier as well. Berserker just kind of fell behind a little bit. I don't really think it does anything super special anymore. It's just kind of, it does big damage, I guess. Both the, I think the power build that really has been lost to time, really. And Colony, but it does damage, but damage isn't, the thing is, damage isn't really good enough. Okay? It isn't good enough to really get up there. You've got to have something a little bit special or be truly exceptional to be in these high tiers here as well. Yeah. 40k. It's very simple. It's because mech is ranged. Mech is ranged. That's why Scourge and mech are so highly rated, is because they're ranged. Having 1200 range is amazing utility, especially in messy scenarios. Yeah. Messy scenarios. Okay. Moving on. We've done Warrior now. What should we do next? I think we will do Elementalist. Let's do Elementalist here. Catalyst is S tier. This build, the Ellie prayers have been answered. The damage on this, it's just great, right? It really, really is. And funnily enough, this build's not actually super hard to play. You're also incredibly durable because if you maintain your elemental empowerment stacks, great news, you've got like 18,000 health, and you've got a block, and you've got loads of self-healing in your rotation, and you've got a water field, and you apply a little bit of protection, little bit of might, little bit of fury at the same time, right? You have surprisingly amount of useful boon access that kind of fills in the group. This build is actually very, very strong. Really, really strong. Massive damage output. As well, of course. It just, it's a big pumper build. It's up there. It's very good. Weaver? Yeah, A tier. Weaver is actually very strong. It's a bit more fragile and honestly less useful than Catalyst. I actually think they should probably swap the damage of Catalyst and Weaver, because Catalyst just is a lot more of a bruiser. It's a brawler, right? It has more durability baked into it. Weaver does a little bit. You know, you can heal yourself a bit, you can evade, you actually have some weird barrier application on dual skill, but it's still a lot less useful, in my opinion, to a group than a Catalyst, but it does have massive power damage burst now, which does actually make it very, very strong. Right? Very, very strong build. I'm actually really tempted to put it in S tier, actually, because it's very comparable to Holosmith, in my opinion, and it's not even hard to play. Weaver is actually one of the easier power builds to play. It's not the most useful build in the universe, but it is easy, and it does a lot of damage as well, especially burst at the same time. Ooh, especially the Condi build. I forgot about the Condi Scepter build as well. Oh, man, I might have to promote it. It's a bit of a borderline one. It actually might be S tier here, I think. Ooh. We might have to make a bit of an S tier and like an S plus as well at the same time. We might need A plus, because we could maybe demote some of these. Ooh. Well, let's get Tempest out the way. DPS Tempest is B tier. I would say that DPS Tempest is the definition of unexceptional. I think it could be good. You know, to be honest, I don't really see Tempest as a DPS. I think it works really nicely as like a hybrid support or a healer, right? I'm not really. I don't know. I don't really see it as super exciting as a DPS. I think that Weaver and Catalyst are much better as DPSs. You know, Tempest is one of the ones that might even be on the lower end here, to be honest. I'm not. It's very unexceptional. In that opinion. Oh man, we might need another tier. Do we do A plus? We could do an A plus situation here. Yeah. I'm thinking. Uninstalled tier equals Tempest plus Berserker. Ooh. Interesting. Very interesting. Let me think about it. We've got to think about it, guys. We've got to continue the thinking. Because S tier is going to end up very, very heavy here. Because let's talk about Revenant. Revenant, Vindicator, S tier. Tempest demoted to C tier. Vindicator, S tier. Why is nobody raving about this build, guys? Are you people unhinged? Are you gamers insane? Okay? This build is amazing. It is bugged, so... Well, there's a bit of a weird thing with the dodge doing a lot of damage. Okay? Great sword. Good weapon. And you dodge all the time. And you're a heavy armor class with medium armor. And you can take stability really easily. And you do loads of damage. You also have a lot of burst as well. It is very, very good. I am a big Vindicator fan here. This is actually one of my favorite DPS classes right now, I think, actually. Huge fan. I would highly recommend it. Yeah, you can do Shiro Jealous. Alliance is more damage. But of course, you don't always need stability, right? So you can go Alliance stance when you need more damage, and you can just do the Jealous when you need it, right? So there it is. I'm not demoting Berserker. Berserker is not that bad, guys. Like, come on. It should be buffed, but it's not horrible. Okay? It's not horrible, but it's really strong in my opinion. Well, not Berserker. Vindicator is really strong. Herald, you know, Herald's going to be a real spicy meme. Here we go. I think DPS Herald is actually really good. It's incredibly easy. It spews out a few free boons, because why the hell not? because you actually maintain some facets to get the damage modifier from Herald, from, what's it called, Forceful Persistence. You have Staff, so you can crowd control super well if you need to. And, yeah, it's actually pretty good. I think this build is very solid. It does a lot of damage now, actually. It does a lot of damage. It really does. It does a lot of DPS. Okay, Renegade. This one's actually hard to quantify. Because yeah, the only sad thing about Herald is that you only end up playing Power DPS Herald if you misclicked and accidentally clicked the wrong build template and didn't play the quickness build. That's the issue, right? That's the problem. So that's why it can't be a higher tier. Because if you're playing this build, you've misclicked already, which, you know, that's not a good start. Renegade is actually very strong. When they gave it its sigil procs back on Legend Swap, it's big juice. It's big juice. I'm not sure if I'd call it S tier, though. I might have to put it in... We might need an A+, or... Yeah, we might need A+, guys. Because there are some borderline cases here. I definitely think Renegade is better than this stuff, but I don't think it's as good as some of this. Yeah, it's not the same tier as Scrapper. That's the thing. Like, you would be a lunatic to put this in the same tier. I mean, I am pretty unhinged. It has to be S tier, actually, doesn't it? Yeah. Because Kala is so good. No, we need A+. We're going to have to do A+ here. It's A+. And let's actually take some time to demote some stuff. Like, do we need A+? That's the question. You guys undervalue Power Mech so much. You guys have no idea. Yeah, clueless. Clueless. Let's see. Do I want to demote anything? Everything's really good right now. Seriously. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Ooh. I could maybe demote Power Mech to A+. Because its damage is relatively low. I do think that... No, I'm not sure I can. Like, Power Mech is so good, guys. It's like Scourge, but with power damage. Okay, maybe it's A+. We'll see what that looks like. We'll see how this develops. We're gonna go ahead and just leave it like this and see how the rest of the tier list develops, guys. Ooh, and we forgot about Condi Mech as well. That's true, actually. Yeah. Oh, this is hard, actually. This is really tough. I think I might be underrating Renegade here. I'm feeling like putting Renegade in S, guys. I feel it. I actually feel it. I feel my hand drawing it to put it in S tier. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Okay, right. We'll refine it. We'll refine it later. Okay? We'll refine it later. We're going to leave it like this for a little while. Okay? We'll refine it a little bit later. Okay, next. We did all the Rev stuff. Yeah, we did all the Rev stuff. Ranger. Yeah. Ranger. Ranger. Soulbeast. S tier. Yeah. Let's go. Good build. Very, very good build. It does the big damage. It does the big burst. And you can be surprisingly useful as well, actually, at the same time. How about that? It's like the classic DPS build. It's a classic. This is an absolute classic build. When you think of DPS, you think of Soulbeast, in my opinion. Well, I do anyway. I think about Soulbeast. Okay, next up, Untamed. I'm actually feeling an A+. I'm feeling a high A+ here, actually. This build is pretty damn insane. Because again, it got buffed significantly. It has more sustain on hammer now. Obviously, because it's, you know, like a CC monster, it's got incredible crowd control, very strong utility. Actually can do loads of immobilize, loads of useful stuff, right? The chat is going to be begging for S tier here, I think. But to be honest, Untamed, it is melee. And it is also gimmicky. Okay, it has a lot of usability issues. And, okay, if we ignore all of those usability issues, then I concede, right? It goes to S tier. I'm completely with you. But because its usability issues get in the way, it's a bit gimmicky with, you know, activating foes being in the hitbox to guarantee you get your spores exploding. If you kind of fall out of the rhythm, you kind of get memed and you can be disrupted very easily. By stuff, I think. Yeah, it's there. I'm going to go ahead and say A+ tier. It's actually very strong, but it is a bit gimmicky, right? So you've got to watch out for that one. And I do think that Soulbeast is better. It's a much more well-rounded build. It's a very reliable build, and it's a very, very good build. Yeah, you won't see that many Untames because it is very high octane, right? Not many people play this build. Core Ranger and Druid, they don't really have DPS builds. Sorry, Druids. Sorry, the days of Condi Druid are, well, they're gone. Go back to Heart of Thorns. Okay. Let's see. We should do the rest of Mesmer. You know how I said we were going to do them in order? I just ignored myself. Mirage. You know, I'm actually going to agree with people. Okay, chat, don't tell everyone, but look, Mirage, guys, you know, a mediocre build, not that good, you know, A tier, guys. A tier Mirage, you know, it's gimmicky, it's hard to play, guys, it's a very weak build. It's not good, very, you know, it's bad. Yeah, no, Mirage is S tier. Let's not piss about it. This build in certain areas is broken. It is flat broken, obviously, on any fight that requires confusion. It is utterly disgusting, not even close. It is the best build for encounters like that, of course, simply because it's the only build that kind of spams a lot of confusion. And honestly, for a lot of other bosses, it's actually very strong as well. It's really, really strong too. It can perform much better than you might expect on pretty much most encounters in the game as well. So yeah, Mirage is S tier. Here we go. That's how it is. It does a lot of damage. Chronomancer. Ooh, the tiers are starting to confuse me, guys. The tiers are confusing me. Because I think Chrono's actually... it's not that good, actually. It does actually have a high damage number. I think it's around 40,000. It's a bit higher than Virtuoso, I think. But... it's a weird power build. It has the classic ramp-up time as you summon your 10,000 phantasms. And it's not Virtuoso. It's A tier. It's not Virtuoso. You can still do all your Mesmer stuff. You know, you can do your cool, crazy memes, which is pretty nice. But that's about it. Yeah. And exactly, yeah. Anything that competes with Virtuoso, you're not having a good time right now. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be there. Okay. Let's see. Guardian. Guardian. Firebrand. You know, I kind of like it. I watched a lot of videos, support hero, blasting away with Firebrand, actually. I think it's A+, actually. I don't think it's S. No, I don't think so. I think it's an A+ tier build. It's really strong. It's really, really strong. Because it has very good damage now. 40,000 DPS, I think, approximately, with allies, of course, you know, with the Ashes share. You have Guardian. You're a... ooh, what if it's higher than this? I'm starting to think that it might actually be going towards the S here, in fact. Simply because of the fact that, you You play 5 pages, though, and that kind of sucks, because it means that you don't get to use that many of your defensive abilities. You can't do that very much. You can recharge them with renewed focus. If you play the... Yeah, it has to be S tier, actually, doesn't it? If you play 8-page... if you play 8-page for a small DPS loss, I think this build is amazing. Because then you just have so much more flexibility with your ability usage that it's absolutely insane. Well, isn't that crazy, guys? Look, do we have one of everything in S tier? Oh, no! I think Thief might not make it. We're so close to everything S tier. Yeah, and you have core guard skills. Yeah, Firebrand is actually S tier, yeah. Yeah, it is. It actually is, yeah. Because it has all the Guardian goodness. It does really good damage. The only thing I do question is that I think that with 5 pages you are a bit limited, but I think it's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Dragonhunter. Dragonhunter. B tier. It's kind of around here. It is nowhere near as bad as people say so, okay? It's not that bad, guys. It's not good. It isn't good. It's pretty mediocre. But it's mediocre. It's worse than Reaper, for sure. It got a small damage buff in the last patch. It wasn't really enough. It's pretty mediocre, to be honest, I would say. That's all I've got to say. Willbender. Yeah. Willbender... Oh, man. Willbender. See, Dragonhunter has good utility. You know, it has the block, and it has the heal. Willbender is not good. I mean, it has damage, but that's... I mean, it can do some, like, Guardian stuff, I guess. I think it actually does go in B tier. I think it's going B tier. I don't think it's going... it can't go... It might be better than DH, actually. I would personally put DH in A+ tier. I don't know if I'm getting trolled now. Am I missing something? I mean, it's really good in certain situations, right? Especially in fractals. You can, like, do some Mega Burst, I guess. Willbender? This is a tough one, actually. This is a build I don't feel that comfortable rating. Nobody plays Willbender. 0 people play Willbender. In the entire game. Everyone forgot Willbender. Including the people who play Willbender. That's the truth of it, guys. Look, there are some in chat. There's a few rare species. I think I'll, I think... I do... Is it better than DH? Is Willbender better than Dragonhunter? I think it's better than DH. I'll put it in A tier for now. I definitely think that something like Willbender could be pretty comparable to this stuff. With the utility, it's either going to be like towards the top of B or at the bottom of A, I think. A tier? Wow. Omega Lul. Okay, Omega Lul. Okay. Oh, no, Willbender is not better than Reaper, though. No, fuck no. No way. Get out of here. There's no way. It's not better than Reaper. Reaper is better than Willbender. It's B tier. It's staying there where it belongs. I forgot to do Harbinger. Harbinger is also... It's also B tier. I think it's not that good. I'm unimpressed. This is an unimpressive build. It does hit relatively hard, but it doesn't do anything, and it's Condi, right? It doesn't do anything. It's Condi. It's low utility. It's not good. Harbinger is not a sleeper, guys. Harbinger is in a coma, right? That is reality. How is this going to increase your win rate, guys? Playing Harbinger does not help you win, right? It doesn't help you win. That's how it is. You're not winning with a DPS Harbinger. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue. We're nearly done, guys. We've nearly made it through. Thief! Yeah. Also, you get Condi cleanse when you try and do your transfers, and then you cry. That's what happens on Harbinger, guys. Okay. Thief. Specter. Daredevil and Deadeye. Deadeye is easy. I think this is not a very good build. It hits really, really hard, but if anything goes wrong, you are gonna get memed. If your target dies, if you get stealthed by someone else, if you get revealed, if you lose 10% of your health, if you can't flank, if you can't backstab, if you don't have maximum malice, right? If anything goes horrible, you are a noodle, okay? You become a noodle. This is Golem tier, right? Deadeye, it looks really good and sexy on the Golem, but in an actual fight, the boss will cyberbully you, and then you will do nothing. That's what's gonna happen to you. Daredevil? Daredevil, I think, is actually going to be an A+ situation. And, important here, Daredevil goes to broken tier on certain encounters, right? So, when it can abuse Magnetic Bomb, and when it can abuse stuff like Detonate Plasma, and in certain situations, especially in kind of speedrun scenarios, Daredevil becomes giga busted, actually. So that's kind of, it's worth noting, right? But everywhere else, it's, oh man, I wonder if it actually gets a little bit demoted here, because I think it's not amazing. The Condi build is actually really strong, but the power build is not how much does Power Daredevil do? It's not that much, is it? Ooh, yeah. Ooh. 34.6k. Oh, that's Doom. Oh, that's Doom. 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 Ooh. Ooh. That is unfortunate. This is an A-tier build, I'm afraid. Yeah. A-tier build. Because again, this build is just very, very strong in certain places, but I think it really lacks the numbers to kind of compete with some of this really crazy stuff. Again, when played well and in the right place, it ends up really good, but for now, not so much. Okay. Specter. This might be another A-tier build. It's close to A+. I actually am a huge fan of the Carrion build. So it turns out that because Specter basically just bugger all power damage, right? You can actually play a build with loads of vitality from Carrion gear, and that means that you actually heal a lot, actually, with this build. And you can heal a lot with, you can go ahead and take the healing well, too, and you can be a bit of a healer, right? And you can also CC a lot, too, as well. You can just take your pistol offhand and just go completely crazy with crowd control, while also doing very respectable damage, applying some barrier and healing to the team. It does lack cleave. You are pretty limited to single target, but I actually do think that Specter is going to get an A to A+ here. Like, it's a very valuable thing. If you have a Specter, a good DPS Specter on your team, I think you're pretty happy about that. I think you're actually very, very happy about this. It's going to deliver you a lot of value and help your team get some work done. It's a little bit like Scourge in some ways. It's not quite as good at doing as Scourge things as Scourges, but it's pretty damn good, actually. Very good. Very, very good, actually. I approve. I definitely approve. Core Thief, again, we're not going to do core stuff. It's a bit insert. But wait, are we done? I think we're done. Okay, now let's see. Do we want to play with something here? Yeah, Specter's about 36k DPS, if I recall correctly. Ish. I think. In that sort of range. In that type of range. Daredevil. Ah, man, you know, Daredevil with all the utility it has. Yeah, I think it is a bit underpowered, actually. Yeah. Oh, it's 38k. Oh, man, I underestimated it. That's pretty juicy. Am I happy with this? I'm actually pretty happy with this. I'm kind of, yeah. Yeah. This is going to be at a row below. We can do this one here. We can do, okay, go back to HOT. Druid. There you go. There we go. Yes. Yes. Oh, apparently the barrier Specter is 36k. I was right. Nice. Druid tier. Go back to HOT tier. As you can see, guys, I think what's really interesting about this is, check this out. Every profession has something that's S or A+. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool, guys? I think that's pretty cool. I think that is pretty cool. Look at it. Look at it! Yeah. The game is in a remarkably good state when it comes to damage builds. And funny enough, honestly, a lot of these just need some numbers played with. If DH did more damage, it would actually be really good, because it's quite utility rich. I mean, Reaper, in my opinion, has really come on with this. That's like a 7 to 10% buff. It really is a lot stronger. Like, another one like that, and you're going to see Reaper very highly rated, in my opinion. You know, Chronomancer got made a lot stronger with the damage buffs that it got. Scrapper definitely missed out, to be honest, on getting some damage buffs. But that could very easily be a high tier build as well. Same thing with Daredevil. Definitely the same thing with Power Herald, in my opinion. Although Power Herald is already kind of there. Yeah, it's pretty good. You know, I feel like the chat bullied me into demoting Power Mech. I actually might put it back. Because, no joke, dude. Like, you do not... The chat doesn't know. The chat hasn't been there. You know, the chat does not understand how good Power Mech is in the hands of players who aren't that experienced compared to literally any other build in the game. Okay? The chat is biased against Power Mech, man. Like, 33k DPS when it's that reliable is so strong. It really is. If you can literally recall the mech once every 10 years, you're gonna do well on Power Mech. Yeah. It's 2k DPS? What do you got? What do you mean it's 2k DPS? Yeah, I'm doing it. Pat, no. I will not be bullied by the chat. I refuse to be bullied by the chat. It's back in there. That does make me think about Renegade, though. Because now, Renegade below Power Mech, that feels a little bit weird. Okay, guys, I'm not gonna lie. That feels a little strange. Renegade might deserve S tier, guys. It actually might. Exactly, he's top 3 DPS with Mech. No, Mech is S tier. You guys are coping. You guys are like, no, you can't just auto-attack on rifle and get top DPS. No! Okay, no, it's actually A tier. Condi Mech is good, too. But I'm talking about Power Mech, mostly. This is really tough. I think S and A+ are, like, really close together, actually. These are really close. These two tiers are... They're kind of... They're brushing toes with each other here. They really are close. They're really close. Yeah, you could... There's an argument to be made here for deleting S tier and putting all of A+ into S. There's an argument for that, in my opinion. There's definitely an argument. S-. Maybe if it was S-, that might be better. Merge the A tiers, because I think that all this stuff is actually a decent chunk better than this stuff. How about Renegade traded for Weaver, guys? Balance must be maintained. I do think... oh, man. That Condi Weaver build, though. No, Weaver has to be here, because it's so comparable with Holo, I think. They're both very comparable, I think. Holo, I think, is better than Weaver, though, because Holo, it's just tankier. It's like Holo is just Weaver, but tankier, right? Way tankier. Because it has the heat therapy, and it has Big Boomer. And you can also take shield. Maybe Holo is too high. I'm really trying to find a way to move Renegade up. Let me look at it. If we do this, what do we think, guys? We have now demoted NG out of S tier. Aren't Holo and Renegade super comparable? I think they are, yeah. I might have to put Weaver and Holo back up again, because they are very comparable. Yeah. I kind of agree with Grim here as well. I think Herald might be a bit underrated. Like this, you know, Herald might be a bit underrated here. We might have to juice it up a little bit. I could see that happening. Maybe not. Yeah. Maybe not, actually. I could see it being like an A+ build. It is melee, though. It does have a lot of CC. I think it does around... I think Rev is like 37,000 DPS, I think, for DPS Herald. Yeah. Man, I'm really struggling, guys. I'm not totally happy with it. You know, weirdly enough, this is a good sign, by the way. The fact that we're having some difficulty here is super interesting, because it means that everything is close. I think there is not that much difference between S and A here, right? These are actually pretty close together. There's like this small smidge of ground in between. Well, I mean, is Wingman going to be reliable? I'm not sure if that's going to be good. Let's have a look at some of these stats. Let's go to Wingman. Wingman can help us, guys. Let's look at Veil Guardian. Okay, here we go. I've looked at Veil Guardian. See, guys, I told you. Look at Mech. Look at it. 15k. Average. Look at that, guys. Insane. Weaver doing pretty well. Willbender actually doing pretty well there too, actually. Look at that, guys. I told you. Mech is big. It did lose to Willbender. There's some weird stuff going on here with Untamed. What is going on here? I'm not sure what that is. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on here. But there is something going on here. Look at the upper numbers. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good though, right? Like, max is 20k. I mean, there are some somewhat exceptional players doing very, very well on Catalyst and stuff like that. I will admit that. I will definitely admit that, guys. Berserker. Dude, look, this is because nobody fucking plays Berserker, okay? Like, Berserker's not that bad, right? It's not great. Look, Scourge is 10k average. Come on, man. Nobody plays Renegade, huh? Look, literally nobody plays Ren. Dude, Deadeye pumping. Holy shit. Definitely getting a little bit skewed by Insera here, though. Not gonna lie. Look at that! I mean, that's not that good. Okay, it's 13.8k. But here's the thing, guys. Dude, how is Berserker so bad? No one plays this shit. I'm gonna play Berserker to show you guys that it's not horrible, okay? I think I want to demote here a little bit. I have been convinced. You know what? I've seen the data. I'm convinced. Berserker, C tier. Okay? I've been convinced. You guys got me. I've seen the data. It's demoted. And actually, I mean, if you play Deadeye really well, then it can be good. Okay? So, you know, looking at the data, I'm going to promote Deadeye as well. I'm going to go ahead and promote Deadeye, guys. There it is. Boom. Now, the rest. Renegade, does it belong here? This is the big question. This is the very, very big question. Willbender's going to get promoted. I actually didn't know it was that good. Willbender's going to get promoted there. I do agree with that. I think we're going to maybe leave Mech in A+, because it is a bit unintuitive. Renegade might get demoted to A+ as well. I think this is I think all of these are very comparable. I kind of like how that looks. I do. I'm liking this. I'm actually liking this. It's really close, though. Again, I think we could honestly make an argument for both. I really think that you could very easily justify Renegade being a little bit below this stuff, and also exactly on par with it as well. But look, I'm gonna give everyone a bit of a disclaimer. I want to give a bit of a disclaimer here, guys. I want to be super, super clear. All of these builds that are being shown here aren't just viable, they're actually really strong. Again, So some of the builds that are on the lower end here, such as Reaper and Dragonhunter and Core Engine and so on, this stuff really is pretty mediocre, but everything above B tier and up, in my opinion, is actually really strong. And that goes for all of the tier lists, by the way. I've been playing with Reaper. It feels good. You know, I've done a few pug runs. I've been top DPS on Reaper. I did Harvest Temple Challenger, but I was top DPS on Reaper. It feels good. It feels strong. All this stuff is actually powerful. And Deadeye, even this, I think this is one of the more questionable builds. In the right hands, can be incredibly effective. Okay? It really, really can be incredibly effective. If you go, oh no, my build is an S tier, you've got to bear in mind, guys, S tier is like the most broken of the broken. Okay? This is, your build doesn't have to be giga broken. To do this. In fact, even the stuff in C tier is more than enough to clear content, right? To clear even the, the challenge mode level stuff. You can get away with that. Obviously, the really busted stuff is going to help you do that, but, the tier list is for entertainment and for you to get an idea of the meta, right? Don't take it too seriously. Have some fun, enjoy the memes, and enjoy me arguing with the chat. That is why I do the tier lists, right? That is why we do this stuff. And honestly, S, especially these two tiers, we are splitting hairs. In my opinion, there is actually a very robust argument for putting all of A+ in S. That's how strong builds are right now in the game. Seriously, that's how strong this stuff is. I think you could easily justify that. You could move everything up one tier. So A would become like A+, B would become A, C would become B. You could very easily justify that. Okay, in my opinion. These are very close. I do think I've underrated Herald here a little bit. Just a little bit of an editor's note, I guess, actually. I think there's a very strong argument. I actually am inclined to agree with Grimjack that it's pretty comparable to something like Specter, I think, actually. This Boon Specter build, or the Barrier Specter build, it's very comparable to that, I think. But I guess we'll leave it here for now, okay? I'm going to leave it here for now because, listen, I don't want to encourage people. Play Quickness Herald, okay? That's very juicy. It is juicy. It really, really is. But you know what? Now that I promoted Willbender, hang on. I've just promoted Willbender, guys. Surely now I have to promote Reaper. Come on, right? It's better than Willbender. Right? Ooh. Reaper. Better than Virtuoso. In all seriousness, no. I think this actually does validate Reaper being an A tier, though. Reaper is better than all of this stuff. Reaper is A tier. Last minute promotion. Reaper's going A tier, guys. But anyway, we took a while on the DPS. I knew that one would be tough. But actually, just to really underline this, the fact that this took so long, I think we spent like an hour going through DPS and deliberating back and forth. This will obviously get edited down, but this is good, right? This is a good thing. Because the fact that it's so difficult and, me in the chat can argue, and I'm sure the YouTube comments will as well, that we can argue about this so vigorously is actually a really good thing. Yeah, Herald is arguably A+. Absolutely. Yeah, Mech is arguably S tier. But that's good. Because that means that the game is actually balanced, right? Right? This, I think, it is actually balanced because of this. Because it's actually quite difficult to split a hair and say, okay, this is better than this, right? Or this is better than that, or this is worse than that. Because it turns out that everything is pretty damn close together in terms of balance in the game, especially when it comes to damage dealers, right? Especially when it comes to damage dealers, guys. Yeah, we don't talk about the defensive supports. That was a little bit less so. But yeah, that's how I'd round things out. Like, supports definitely need a little bit of a rejuice, a little bit of a reorganization about the place there as well. But yeah, I like it. I like it, guys. I like this. I'm happy with this tier list. I'm happy. I like where we are with this. What a tier list. You know what, though? We've got to round it out for the YouTube friends. Let me know what you think. Are you happy with the state of the metagame? Do you hate the state of the metagame? You tell me. I hope you enjoyed the tier list. I know I always enjoy these. They're so much fun, right? They really are so much fun to do and just mess around and see where everything is. And I think they are actually useful. Again, don't take it super seriously. Use it as like an overview. I will actually be doing an in-depth patch review coming soon, actually, so stay tuned for that. There will be a patch where we'll go over the notes and talk about the new builds that cropped up. And some of the shifts that we've seen in the way people are approaching the game in PvE. So there will be an in-depth kind of fun thing. This is more like a fun thing. The in-depth analysis will be a little bit more serious. We're not going to be putting things into tiers. It will be an actual breakdown of it, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe, guys, okay? Although, honestly, maybe if I put your class in B tier, maybe you don't like me, but that's okay. Okay, you can hate watch instead. That's a very healthy and well-adjusted thing to do. That's the tier list. Good stuff. Meta in a good spot. Can't wait for the next patch. That's the end of that. GG.